Hello and friends, I'm Nuri Fatini binti Umar. My metric number is 291946. We are from Group 9 and I'm very pleased to start this presentation about the contribution of Alvin Hess Hansen and Paul L. Samacher in developing the ideas of Keynesian school. We also want to discuss about the post-Keynesian and new Keynesian school of economic thought. Firstly, let me introduce our member.
These are the contents for this topic. Firstly is introduction. Secondly, the contribution of Alvin Hansen. Thirdly, the contribution of Paul Samuelson. Fourthly, the post-Keynesian economists. And the fifth is the new Keynesian. And lastly, conclusions for this topic. Thank you.
Let me start this introduction. The Keynesian school of economic thought, founded by John Maynard Keynes in the early 20th century, has profoundly influenced both economic theory and policy throughout the century. By challenging classical economic theory that emphasized self-regulating market, Keynes reshaped our understanding of economic dynamics and introduced concepts that remain central to modern economy. Before Keynes, classical economists believed in the self-correcting nature of market. They posited that any economic downturn would naturally be followed by recovery as supply and demand adjusted. This perspective was rooted in the idea that individuals and firms act rationally, responding to price signals in a way that restored equilibrium. However, during the Great Depression, Keynes observed that this theoretical framework failed to account for the realities of a flattering economy. In the General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money in 1936, Keynes argued that inadequate aggregate demand could lead to prolonged period of unemployment and economic stagnation. He emphasized that during several downturns, consumers and businesses tend to cut back on spending, leading to a vicious cycle of reduced demand, lower production, and increased unemployment. Keynes asserted that without intervention, economies could become stuck in this cycle for extended period. Keynes' idea marked a significant departure from classical thought, emphasizing the importance of macroeconomic factors over individual market behavior. His recognition that economy could remain trapped in cycles of low demand challenged the prevailing orthodoxy and laid the groundwork for a new approach to economic policy. This shift also highlighted the limitation of relying solely on market force to correct economic imbalance. The influences of Keynesian economy expanded significantly in the aftermath of World War II. As Western nations rebuilt their economies, Keynesian principles shaped the development of economic policy aimed at the fostering growth and stability. Government adopted active fiscal policy, increasing public spending to stimulate demand and reduce unemployment. This period saw the implementation of various Keynesian-inspired initiatives, including the establishment of welfare state and public work programs designed to create jobs and economic activity. The Marshall Plan, which provided aid to rebuild European economies, was a practical application of Keynesian ideas on a grand scale. Economists and policymakers embraced the notion that government intervention could mitigate the effect of fluctuation and promote sustainable growth. One of the key figures in the post-war Keynesian movement was Alvin Hansen, who introduced the concept of secular stagnation. Hansen theorized the advanced economy could face long-term stagnation due to factors such as declining population growth, technological changes, and insufficient investment. This idea redefined the understanding of economic growth, suggesting that even in the stable condition, underlying issues could impede progress, and Hansen would emphasize the need for continued government involvement in the economy to address these challenges, reinforce the Keynesian belief in active fiscal policy. As the Keynesian framework evolved, it faced critics from monetarists and supply-side economists, who argued that Keynesian policy could lead to inflation without addressing the root causes of economic issues. Monetarists, led by figures such as Milton Friedman, asserted that controlling the money supply was the key to managing economic stability. They contended that Keynesian policy often resulted in inflationary pressure, particularly when government attempted to stimulate demand without addressing underlying supply-side issues. In response to this critique, new Keynesian economy emerged in the late 20th century integrating microeconomic foundation into the Keynesian model. New Keynesian sought to reconcile Keynes' insight with modern economic theories, particularly by employing formal mathematical model to account for individual behavior and market dynamics. One of the key contributions of New Keynesian economy is the emphasis on price stickiness. Unlike classical theories that assume price and wage adjust instantly to changes in supply and demand, New Keynesian argue that price can be rigid in the short run due to factors such as contract, menu costs, and psychological barriers. This stickiness means that even in the face of the changing economic condition, prices may not adjust quickly enough to restore equilibrium, leading to prolonged period of unemployment and underutilization of resources. Additionally, New Keynesian highlight market imperfections such as information asymmetry and monopolistic competition, which can further exacerbate economic fluctuation. This imperfection creates situations where markets do not clear, necessity policy intervention to restore balance. By incorporating this microeconomic element, New Keynesian economy provided a more robust framework for understanding economic fluctuation, bridging the gap between classical and Keynesian thought. That's all from me. I will pass to next presenter.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all. My name is Nurul Auni Shaira binti Bahari. My matrix number is 292335. So today I would like to explain the contributions of Alvin H. Hansen, which is the early career and influence of Keynes, and also secular stagnation and US economic policy. Firstly, he was born in Viborg, South Dakota. He made his first PhD in University of Wisconsin. He was teaching in University Brown and the University of Minnesota. He also have a few students such as Paul Samuelson and F.C. Domar. In 1927, he made his publication of business cycle theory, which earning a reputation that nation's leading macroeconomic scholar. In 1937, he joined University of Harvard. His initial reaction to Keynes' famous book, The General Theory Was Less Enthusiastic, was point out a mathematical error in Keynes' thesis of money. After deeper study of Keynes' system of ideas, he changed his opinion. He also organized fiscal policy seminar, which focused on Keynes' work and its policy implications, attended by prominent economics such as Paul Samuelson. In 1941, he made his publication of fiscal policy and business cycles. He also supported Keynes' analysis of macroeconomics problem of the 1930s. Alvin H. Hansen, also known as American Keynes, due to his strong support of government interventions to promote full employment. Thousands of graduate students use a guide to Keynes to comprehend the more esoteric sections of Keynes' The General. Next is secular stagnation and US economic policy. He argued that the major economics could face long-term stagnation due to factors like declining population growth, reduced technological innovation, and insufficient investment opportunities. His secular stagnation hypothesis influenced US economic policies, particularly during the New Deal and post-World War II era. Hansen advocated for public investment in infrastructure, social programs to boost consumption, and counter-cycle fiscal policies to maintain the demand.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. I'm Nurul Izzati Betty Ahmad, matric number 292765. I would like to share about Paul A. Samuelson contribution in terms of synthesis of Keynesian and neoclassical thought, also mathematical formalization of Keynesian economics. First of all, Paul A. Samuelson, an influential economist who is born in Gary, Indiana on May 15, 1915. Samuelson pursued his BA at the University of Chicago and later joined Harvard's graduate program, where he was influenced by the Keynesian revolution, and his professor was Alvin Hansen. Renowned for his brilliance in mathematics, Samuelson applied mathematical methods to economic theory, resulting in his seminal work, The Foundations of Economic Analysis, published in 1947. Despite Harvard's decision not to appoint him, he secured a position at MIT, where he significantly enhanced its reputation in economics. Paul A. Samuelson's contribution to economics and well known as the founder of modern economics. Samuelson was a prolific writer who's published numerous influential articles across various topics including consumer behavior, linear programming, capital and growth, economic methodology, welfare economic, public expenditure theory, national income determination, and fiscal and monetary policy. His work was highly mathematical and aimed at expanding economic theory rather than testing it. Samuelson's textbook Economics became widely familiar to college students, and in 1970, he became the first American economist to be awarded the Nobel Prize for his contribution to the field. The interaction between the multiplier and accelerator concepts in the economic theory, a foundation of modern business cycle theory explored by Samuelson in 1939. It explains how Keynes developed the multiplier ideas, which Keynes integrated into his theory, and how John Maurice Clark discusses the acceleration principle in 1917. Clark argued that fluctuations in capital goods are more significant than those in consumer goods. Even if consumer demand keeps growing, changes in the growth rate affect the capital goods sector more intensely. It means that a slowdown in the growth of demand for consumer goods leads to a sharp decline in demand for capital goods, demonstrating the dynamic interplay between these economic principles. This information delves into the economic interaction between the multiplier and accelerator effects. It explains that changes in income and consumption depend on the marginal propensity to consume (MPC) and the size of the accelerator coefficient. The multiplier effect determined by the MPC influence how an initial investment increase can lead to a larger increase in income. Samuelson demonstrated that depending on these values, an initial autonomous increase in investment could result in varied outcomes ranging from no lasting increase in income to a continuously rising level of income, showcasing the dynamic nature of this economic principle. The interaction between the multiplier and accelerator effects explain how economic activity experiences cycle of expansion and contraction. The multiplier effect shows how an initial increase in investment leads to a larger rise in income and spending. Meanwhile, the accelerator effect highlights how rising income prompts increased investment due to anticipated higher demand. Together, these effects can cause a positive feedback loop, driving economic growth during expansion or implying downturns during recession, thus contributing to the cyclical nature of economic fluctuation. The diagram illustrates the interrelationship between different economic variables. The consumption function highlights how both autonomous consumption and income-dependent consumption contributes to overall consumption. The investment function shows how income impacts investment levels. Additionally, government spending and exports are treated as autonomous, while imports vary with income. This relationship collectively demonstrates how fluctuation in income and taxes impact economic variables, thereby influencing overall economic activity. These diagrams highlight the complex interaction between key economic variables centering on the national income equation. Here, S represents the marginal propensity to save, BT the product of the marginal propensity to consume and tax, M the marginal propensity to import, and Z the marginal propensity to invest. The equation illustrates how factors like consumption, investment, government spending, and taxes interact to determine national income, showing how the multiplier and accelerator effects can drive cyclical fluctuation in economic activity without the need for special explanation for business cycle turning points. This interplay of variables collectively shapes overall economic stability and growth.
Good day, sir and fellow friends. My name is Fatinur Nadira binti Fakri and my metric number is 292368. Now I will explain about the post-Keynesian economy. I would like to talk about post-Keynesian economy, a school of thought that is not included in mainstream economic because it has a different methodology and economic model compared to mainstream thinking. Mainstream economic combined Keynesian economy and neoclassical economic. This integration was possible due to contribution made by economists like Hansen and Samuelson. Some Keynesian economists rejected the new classical synthesis, which include the ISLM interpretation and standard microeconomics. A group of economists in Cambridge, England, include Pero Sarfa, Nicholas Caldo, John Robinson, Luigi Pessinetti, John Kay, Galbraith, and Sidney Windrow, and others, agree that the neoclassical synthesis was flawed and inconsistent with Keynes' idea. The economists drew inspiration from Polish economist Michael Kalecki, who had developed a theory of total unemployment similar to Keynesian principle. We will discuss five basic tenets, which is first, neo-Ricardian view of production, value and distribution. Second, market pricing. Third, endogenous money. Fourth, pronounced cyclical instability. And fifth, needs for an income policy. The first basic tenet is neo-Ricardian view of production, value, and distribution. Production of commodities by means of commodities, a prelude to a critique of economic theory written by Pero Sarfa and published in 1960, was a modern reconstruction of Ricardo production and value theory. The real value of goods are determined by the shape of other commodities required for their production. Relative price and profits depend on the production technique used to create a composite standard commodity, which consists of basic commodities like capital goods that serve as both input and output in the production of all other goods. The key features of the composite standard commodity is that a change in either weight or profit effect the input exactly the same way that it affect the output. It means that where there's a change in either wage or profit, it affects both input and also output. Saf- Sarfa point out that this composite standard commodity is what Ricardo was talking about when he mentioned an invariable measure of value or relative price. John Robinson and other post-Keynesians expanded Sarfa's unconventional theme. John Robinson said that it is desirable and possible for society to control the distribution of income. They also said that the actual distribution of income between wages and profit will depend on the class struggle, on public policy that alter the distribution, and on the rate of investment. This can be done through the socialization of investment, public ownership of the means of production, or income policy, which is government policy to control wage and price. John Robinson called herself left-wing Keynesian. Robinson believed that these policies are firmly rooted in the proper inter- interpretation of book called the General Theory. Second basic tenet is markup pricing. Oligopolistic corporations set the price and financial investment for retained profit. Oligopoly also set the price above current cost to achieve their desired level of profit and investment plan, which set price above AC. Price do not reflect current demand rather than fund requirement for the planned investment expenditure to meet the future demand. When costs increase, firms increase their price to maintain their markup over their cost, ensuring they continue to earn profit and cover their expenses in the future. Third of the basic tenet is endogenous money. Post-Keynesian regard the stock of money as being essential endogenous to the economy. Post-Keynesian believe that the amount of the money in the economy is not set by a central bank, but it is created by the economy itself. As businesses and people who need more money to pay for goods and services, wages, or business expansions, they will borrow from banks, and the money supply is increased by the following. In simple terms, as the economy expands and require more money to run, the money supply in the economy increase. Besides that, inflation arises from the fight over the share of the distribution of income. In this view, inflation occurs that there is an argument about income distribution. If employees demand higher wages, businesses must raise price or to cover their costs. This increasing price increase everyone's costs, causing a cycle of wage and price increase that cause inflation. In the end, business has more money to cover costs and cost money supply increase. Net basic tenet is pronounced cyclical instability. The economy is seen as inherently unstable. Business people can be optimistic at times leading to invest more than necessary to maintain consistent growth. This will cause economic increase and unemployment rate decrease. But they can also become pessimistic, leading to investment is less than necessary to maintain a consistent growth. The economic slowdown and unemployment rate increase. The last basic tenet is need for an income policy. To manage inflation and economic instability, post-Keynesian suggests an income policy by seeing how much wages and price can increase each year based on the economic growth. Firstly, the income policy hold up inflation, which is wages increase to the growth rate of productivity, thus preventing a wage price period. Secondly, it minimizes the redistribution of income from inflation. This is resulting from inflation by stabilizing real income. This approach helps protect vulnerable groups from the effect of inflation and generate a more stable and equitable economic environment. Lastly, avoid the loss of output associated with anti-inflationary fiscal and monetary policy. Conventional anti-inflationary measures like tight fiscal and monetary policy can tame economic growth and lead to job losses, and income policy aims to control inflation without this negative effect, maintaining a stable level of economic activity. Therefore, the economic Therefore, the economists that agree with the post-Keynesian perspective agree that inflation cannot be controlled through conventional instruments of fiscal and monetary policy. Post-Keynesian argue that inflation is not always caused by excessive demand but rather by a deeper conflict over income distribution policy, and slowly at reducing demand may assist the conflict by reducing the amount of income available for distribution potential, leading to more instant changes and inflationary pressure. Lastly, post-Keynesian is heterodox economic. Heterodox economic refer to a group of economics theories and approach that challenges or differ from traditional or mainstream economic, which is often based on neoclassical and Keynesian idea. Mainstream economic focus on market equilibrium, rational choice, and mathematical modeling, while heterodox economic embrace a broader set of perspective and methodologies. Two post-Keynesian have many weaknesses in terms of methodology because post-Keynesians are different from the mainstream thinking who become complex in real world of their analysis, and they lack of unified new economic model, and some policies are difficult to implement. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
My name is Chen Hong and my metric number is 298089. Now I will explain the new modern Keynesian economy had rejected the neo-Ricardian value theory of the post-Keynesian. They also reject the post-Keynesian call for income policy, citing the resources misallocation resulting from this policy and the poor historical success of wage and price control in reducing inflation. Modern Keynesian macroeconomics had pursued a narrower line of inquiry than the post-Keynesian. The new Keynesian theories have refocused attention on the traditional Keynesian question of why recession occurs. Their answer is that decline in aggregate demand AD produced decline in real output Y and corresponding increase in unemployment, because the price level and nominal wage are inflexible downward. Now I would like to discuss about the importance of this double price and wage stickiness. First, we suppose that the price and nominal wage are perfectly flexible. Initial equilibrium point is at the point A when AD1 intersects with the AS1. If aggregate demand decreases from AD1 to AD2 and aggregate supply remains at AS1, price level will decrease from P1 point A to P2 point B, and real output will temporarily fall from its full employment level QF to less than full employment output Q1. This lower price level and greater unemployment will enable producers to reduce their nominal wage to keep real wage unchanged. The aggregate supply curve will shift rightward from AS1 to AS2. At the intersection point C of AD2 and AS2, real output will return to full employment level QF and the resistance has automatically ended. This process aligns with the classical and neoclassical viewpoint, suggesting that the economy is self-correcting and government stabilization policies are unnecessary. However, according to the new Keynesian economics, the price and nominal wage are inflexible downward. Instead of moving the economy quickly from point A to B to C, a decline from AD1 to AD2 will move the economy from point A to the point D, and real output will fall from QF to Q2. This is because wages are inflexible downward. The unemployment associated with real output Q2 will persist until return to AD1. So, the new Keynesian economics urges that active fiscal monetary policy may be necessary to shift the aggregate demand curve back to AD1 and restore full employment QF. These 6 new Keynesian economics have proposed several possible explanations for double price and wage rigidity. Now, I would like to present about the 4 reasons that create double inflexibility in price and wages. The first reason is manual cost. The second reason is formal and implicit contract. The third reason is efficiency wages. And the last reason is insider-outsider theory. Manual costs are a type of transaction costs incurred by firms when they change their price. Some firms might incur costs when they lower price. For example, a restaurant must print a new menu. Similarly, other firms establish and print new price lists, communicate the lower price to customers, perhaps toss new advertising, print and mail new catalogs, and reprice items held in inventory. When menu costs such as these are high, firms may be reluctant to lower their prices, even when faced with slack demand. Also, firms in oligopolistic industries must be concerned that a unilateral price reduction may set off deeper cuts by rivals. Thus, when aggregate demand in the economic decline, prices may remain fixed while output and employment fall. Next is formal and implicit contract. Formal contract, also known as long-term contract. New Keynesian point out that unions often sign long-term contracts containing built-in nominal wage increase. Wage cuts simply are not an opinion when decline in aggregate demand unexpectedly occurred. Instead, firms lay off workers. Even where contracts are being renegotiated, unions typically vigorously resist wage givebacks. Union leaders, elected by the majority of members, often prefer layoff for the few rather wage cuts for the many. Although many non-union workers do not work under formal or explicit contracts, these workers may operate under implicit contracts, which is informal agreement. If formal and implicit contracts permit the workplace, then decline in wages are not forthcoming as aggregate demand decline above the market rate to retain a skilled and efficient workforce. Efficiency wage theory posits that an employer must pay its workers high enough so that workers are incentivized to be productive and that highly skilled workers do not quit. So, higher pay raises the relative value of the jobs as viewed by each worker. It also raises the cost of being the minute of living. Firms paying efficiency wages will be reluctant to cut wage rate in response to decline in aggregate demand because it will encourage seeking and increase the number of jobs quite. The last reason is insider-outsider theory. In Esser Lindbergh's insider-outsider model of sticky wages, insiders are employed workers who possess some market power. Outsiders are the employment who are unable or unwilling to underbid existing wage rates to gain employment. The employers may rightfully be concerned that the remaining higher paid workers will view these replacement workers as stealing jobs. For example, if the higher paid insider refuses to cooperate in team production with the new lower paid workers, the field output and profits will suffer.
Hi, my name is Putri Nukari binti Muhammad Nurizam and my number metric is 291760. Here's the simpler version of the conclusion based on the development in Keynesian economics. Keynesian economics has grown and changed a lot since Keynes first introduced his ideas. Here are the main points. Firstly, mainstream integration. Economists like Alvin Hansen and Paul Samuelson helped make Keynes' ideas widely accepted. Hansen supported government actions to fix the economy while Samuelson used math to explain how economies grow and shrink. The ISLM model developed by the Hansen and Hicks combined Keynesian ideas with older economic theories to create a unified system. After that, during post-Keynesism argued that the mainstream version of Keynesian ideas missed the mark. They focused on the huge issues like inequality, unstable economies, and the role of money created within the economy. They wanted policy to reduce income gaps and ensure a fair economic system. Moreover, during New Keynesism focused on why price and wage don't adjust quickly in bad times. They explained how this can make recessions worse and suggested ways, like government spending and the lowering interest rate to fix the economy. Lastly, the impact and future idea. Keynesian ideas have been used worldwide to tackle economic crises like during the 2008 financial crash and COVID-19. New ideas like using Keynesian policies to fight climate change or reduce inequality show that Keynes' work is still inspiring solutions today. Thank you. This is the mind map for this topic. The developments in Keynesian economy since its inception reflect a rich and diverse evolution of ideas that have shaped modern macroeconomy theory. Key contributors like Alvin Hansen, known as the American Keynes, advocated for government interventions to stabilize the economy, aligning closely with the Keynes' focus on active fiscal policy. Paul Samuelson extended these ideas by incorporating mathematical rigor, notably through his work on the multiplier accelerator interaction, which became a cornerstone of modern business circle theory. John Hicks, on the other hand, contributed the ISLM model, which bridged Keynesian macroeconomics with neoclassical microeconomics, providing a unified framework to analyze equilibrium in goods and money markets. While the mainstream Keynes synthesis emphasizes government intervention and macroeconomic stability, alternative schools emerge with contrasting views. Post-Keynesism, for instance, criticized the neoclassical synthesis for deviating from Keynes' original ideas, emphasizing class struggle, income distribution, and endogenous money creation. Conversely, New Keynesism focused on explaining recessions through microeconomic foundations, highlighting factors like downward wage rigidity, menu costs, and insider-outsider dynamics. Together, these developments underscore a dynamic and multi-faceted intellectual legacy, showcasing both the adaptability of Keynesian principles and the enduring debates over their interpretation and application in the addressing complex economic challenges. Thank you so much.